Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture.
And I'm Andy Murray from WhatCulture. And what Rusev wanted from me was sex.
Don't forget to get the news as a podcast by searching for WhatCulture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast from. But coming up today, serious unrest in NXT.
We've got an update on the Jordan Myles situation. Could he be on his way out of WWE?
And Tony Khan apologises for AEW. This is the news.
That Lana segment was something else.
Woo!
Anyway, speaking of something else, let's take a look at last week's Smackdown ratings, which have just come out. They just came out about 12 hours ago, in fact, and boy, they are not good, brother.
No.
So before we dive into this, let's acknowledge, of course, that the show was moved from Fox to FS1 this week because the World Series is on. It was Game 3 in the big MLB. Couldn't tell you who was playing because I don't know a thing about baseball.
Home run.
Home run, that's the one. Touchdown. It was a huge baseball game, obviously. Wrestling's not as much of a priority, so they shifted that over to FS1. Smackdown, what kind of number do you think Smackdown did on FS1? Slightly smaller network, not gonna...
2 million, 1.5 million?
1.5, Try 888,000. An average of 888,000. It is the lowest rating in Smackdown history. The first time the show has ever gone below 1 million viewers, and they had just a 0.27 rating in the 18 to 49 demographic. This is a decline of 63% on the previous week, which was approximately 2.4 million. And it's also worth pointing out that SmackDown's number is less than AEW Dynamite, which did 963k.
And I've got some breaking news here. After that news broke, they rehired Eric Bischoff and then subsequently fired him again to blame him for these terrible ratings.
Yeah, back and better than ever. Not quite. To be fair, we have to make some concessions here. Although WrestleVotes reported after the numbers came out that WWE apparently expected a similar number to what they were drawing on USA, which would have been about 2 million. This has been countered by Tony Maglio, who is the TV editor of The Wrap, who said that that's just not realistic. FS1 is not as easy to find. It's not as publicly known, I guess. It's not as big a network. It might have a similar reach, but it's not as big, it's not as visible as Fox. So such a decline was to be expected to some extent, but maybe not to this level. 888k for a show that had Brock Lesnar on it. That's pathetic.
Yeah, I mean, to a certain extent, you can excuse it, like you say. If you're a casual fan and you are used to switching on a specific channel and it's just not on there anymore for that night, you might think, oh, well, I guess no Smackdown this week then. Or just can't be asked to watch it, or you really like the bloody baseball. Never really seen the appeal. More of a cricket man myself. But, that's going to be fun in the comments, but you'd hope that the more committed fans, which is effectively what WWE is aiming at nowadays, they're trying to milk that slowly diminishing audience more and more and more, would try and search it out. But apparently some of them just went, that's not it. It's only a go-home show for Crown Jewel. We're not going to miss much. And they didn't, to be fair.
No.
It was crap.
Yeah, I mean, like, it heated up a couple of times. The Brock Lesnar segment was pretty awesome. The main event was loads of fun. But other than that, there wasn't really a whole lot to sink your teeth into on that show. So, you'd expect it to swing back up again when they hit Fox next week and when the World Series isn't a problem and that's not getting in the way. But either way, like, a number like this is always going to sting a company as proud and as bullish as WWE. So, not good. Not a good look.
Watch them tweet the World Series saying, well, it's a marathon, not a sprint, so congratulations on your good rating.
Stupid blood and guts sport.
Let's move on and talk about some more problems for WWE now, and we're not even getting to the Jordan Myles stuff yet.
Wow.
I'm talking about NXT with reports from Performance Center insider Casey Michael that there could be some serious unrest in NXT. He claimed that yesterday. David Starr, a good personal friend of ours here, of course, has claimed that he's spoken to wrestlers who were told that they wouldn't be getting a pay rise despite NXT's move to USA. Now, I think quite a few of them were promised that when this big TV deal was announced, and effectively they went into a big meeting and they just went, no, it's not happening.
No.
Which is, worrying signs. It's bad enough for your main roster to be, unhappy. We've reported that numerous occasions over the past year or so for WWE. But for your developmental system, even though now, yes, they are a proper TV show, that's really bad.
Yeah, it's not a good look whatsoever, particularly as NXT is like everyone's favourite little boutique wrestling promotion where everything's shiny and nice and awesome all the time and all this. Casey Michael is a particularly credible source. A lot of people might look at what he has claimed, that some people are upset and promises have been broken and so forth, and say, well, it's just some person on Twitter tweeting and all this stuff. And it's like, well, no, Casey Michael has been very reliable. He's an insider with the PC and NXT related matters. He's got a proven track record, and there are very few examples of something he has reported later being proven incorrect. So invest in this what you will, but, you know, it's such a strange little situation because NXT critically is doing extremely well. But you know, if you're moving on to USA Network, if you're coming off the WWE Network and providing you're the star of a show that adds another revenue stream via this USA deal, surely that should warrant a nice little bump. That's how this thing's supposed to work, isn't it?
I completely agree. And in terms of the other source, David Starr, you may probably know him as the guy who's been a driving force behind the independent movement, pushing for unions and healthcare and things like that. And you may well think, if you're a WWE sort of apologist, that, well, he's probably just made all this up. But someone who knows David Starr pretty well, who is, I appreciate how passionate he is about his cause, but from what I've gained from knowing him and working with him, he does not strike me as someone who would just make stuff up to back up his claims. He always substantiates things. He's doing wonders on the independent scene right now, and hopefully he can be a catalyst for change, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. We've seen it with his We the Independent movement. David Starr, very outspoken guy, very
great moustache.
Great stash, really good wrestler, really great character, everything else. Wrestling needs guys like David Starr to speak up on matters, and he's been a real person to rally around, a real driving force and so forth. And he will know personally loads of people in the Performance Center as well. So lots to, I mean, this is, again, it's a topic that we could probably speak about for ages and ages, but today, not a great look, again, for WWE. And speaking of things that haven't been a great look for WWE in general, man, what a news day this is. We're going to talk a little bit more about the Jordan Myles situation. Now, yesterday saw him go even deeper into, you know, his criticisms of the company, how they handled the t-shirt design and the aftermath of that and so forth. We've covered basically almost everything he said up to this point. But our good friend Brad Shepard over at ProSportsExtra.com actually tweeted yesterday saying, according to a source in WWE, Vince McMahon is considering terminating Jordan Myles' contract. The source stated he has lost it. So the usual thing applies here. Brad Shepard is known to just tweet stuff out for the sake of getting numbers and attention, and I guess I've given him that here, but at the same time you can understand why a man like Vince McMahon, who was called out publicly and really may not have had anything to do with the matter at hand, might be upset or might feel slighted or whatever by what's gone down. That's not to say that him, I don't think, you know, the situation requires, like, you know, we've broken it down quite a lot already, but perhaps what's useful here now is that a couple of veteran wrestlers have actually added their voices to the situation. So we've got your guy, Titus O'Neil, coming through. He tweeted yesterday at Mr. Myles and said, I am in 100% agreement that the shirt is very distasteful. That being said, bringing others into this to vent your frustrations or issues that have nothing to do with WWE or the shirt is also very distasteful. If it's hashtag for the culture, don't attack those in it. And Booker T, meanwhile, he was speaking on his podcast. He didn't mince his words at all. He said, and I quote, this going to social media crap is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life, adding that he didn't think it was a racial issue and that the situation should have been handled behind the scenes. So I think, you know, most people who saw the shirt design and saw that it very closely resembled an image used previously in the past, historically, to dehumanize African Americans can look at that shirt design and go, that's repugnant and awful and never should have slipped through the net in the first place. But it's a very tricky situation unfolding with Jordan Myles here, and I have no idea how it's going to fall out.
As much as Brad Shepard may have tweeted out for numbers, it might seem like the only real logical conclusion to this. A lot of people were speculating yesterday on Twitter how WWE are going to handle it. We obviously had the second wave of Jordan Myles stuff that came out yesterday afternoon here in the UK and was reported by our hard-working after news team, with him tweeting out a video that he subsequently deleted, him tweeting out screenshots of an email name-checking Triple H in there. I think the only way, and it's not really resolving this, the only way this can go now is seeing him released by WWE. I'm not suggesting that they should do that.
Yeah.
I just think for everyone's sake, it's probably the only satisfactory conclusion.
Myles to me sounds like a guy who isn't particularly happy working there anyway.
Yeah, this wasn't an outburst from nowhere.
Yeah.
It struck me.
Yeah, it sounded like pent-up frustration built up over a period of time. Whatever happens here, I hope that it's best for Jordan in general because he's a really talented guy and I admire the balls in him for speaking up.
Well, WWE aren't the only ones in trouble, although this isn't quite the same level.
This is a weird one, isn't it?
Yes. AEW are apologising today. Basically, all day yesterday and even prior to that, they had been teasing this huge, the biggest announcement in AEW's history. They are going to Monday night. No, they're not. Of course they're not. Tony Khan had to publicly apologise after this big announcement that had been teased and teased and teased across the day on social media. Even despite the fact, I do believe Cody Rhodes said it's not going to be us moving to Monday night. It's not some huge talent acquisition. It was them simply announcing the latest venue for AEW Dynamite. I do believe it's Jacksonville.
Daly's place. Yeah, the venue that they ran for.
They're returning home, basically. And Tony Khan publicly apologised because people were very pissed off on social media because this big announcement was simply them announcing where Dynamite was going next. And Khan said AEW shouldn't be, quote, toying with people's emotions like this. Yeah. I've been hurt before, Tony. I'm not prepared to be hurt again.
It's an interesting approach from Tony Khan because he just replied to the company's official Twitter tweet and said, "Come on, Jeff." Poor Jeff, man, getting put on blast. There's a little bit to unpack here. I think Tony Khan is very keen to present himself as like the public-facing boss, almost like a less abrasive Dana White type figure in AEW. Not as much of a bell end as Dana White, fortunately. Tony Khan's the sugar man. He can do no wrong, obviously. But, stripping the gimmick away a little bit, like, yes, absolutely, shouldn't be building up a huge announcement and then, we're going to Jacksonville.
If WWE did that, they would be buried.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why we're sitting here criticising it now, because that's what you've got to do. You've got to apply those same standards in instances like this. But maybe this should have been handled behind the scenes as well. Poor Jeff. He's just doing what he thought was best, man.
Shooting on Jeff on Twitter.
Poor Jeff. Jeff, man, I'm so sorry, but the sugar man gonna sprinkle the sugar, so you get in the way. I hope you're not allergic. Is anyone allergic to sugar? I don't know.
Probably someone in our office, probably.
Yeah.
Right, let's move on and check out your Twitter questions at WhatCulture WWE, of course, if you want to get in touch. First question today comes from James Martin, who says, from glitchy games to locker room unrest to Jordan Myles, the list just keeps going. Is this the worst WWE PR year ever?
There's so much that we could even add to that list. Things like trying to put Dana Warrior over as this LGBTQ champion. Just ridiculous stuff given some of the things her awful husband said in the past. But I think last year, man, the Jamal Khashoggi stuff surrounding the Saudi Arabian deal, I think that probably tips it over the edge. You also can go back in the day and look at things like the steroid trial and so forth.
And I hate to mention it, but the whole Chris Benoit thing.
Yeah.
And the subsequent, no, it's fine, no one's on drugs, but then loads of people fail drug tests, etc.
So 2019's been a bad one, but I don't think it's the worst.
No. Although, still a couple of months left. Next question today comes from Sumo Naito, regular contributor, of course, legend Sumo, who says, with Xavier Woods unfortunately on the shelf, do you think it's a good time to split up the New Day? Give Big E a much deserved hashtag push, and or maybe actually give Kofi a reclamation storyline?
There's probably something to this. I think that maybe a soft split might be something that they might go with. They might just keep the New Day going as a tag team with Big E and Kofi, which would be a lot of fun. But you could absolutely do a little soft split. I wouldn't want a full-on split where they never come back together. Maybe the guys just go, hey, let's go and do our thing for a while. Let's go our separate ways. Let's maybe compete as singles, and then when Woods comes back, they can all come back together. I think I'd quite enjoy something like that. Do
you reckon if the draft had been subsequent to Xavier's injury, they might have considered doing that?
I don't think so. I think the New Day is too valuable a commodity for me to split them off on separate brands and so forth. They sell so much merch. A lot of people think they're corny. A lot of people think they're overdone. Valid viewpoints, but they still get pretty decent crowd reactions and decent clicks on YouTube and so forth. So from like a capitalist standpoint, I would keep them together. Like, you know what I'm trying to say. I wouldn't rip them apart, but maybe them just going off in different directions before coming back together.
I'd like to
Might be a
see,
nice
I mean,
idea.
obviously we've seen Kofi go off and do single stuff and then get buried as a result of it, thanks to WWE. But I would love to see what they could do with Big E.
Yeah.
Of course, they've got a tag team championship match this Friday, though.
This is it, man. This is
After
it.
losing last week on SmackDown, because things don't make sense.
Booking!
Right, let's move on to our final question today. It comes from Hobo Broncos, who says, if Seth Rollins pins The Fiend with a forklift, isn't the forklift the champion in an Iron Man Heavy Metalweight Champion-esque way? Now, of course, this relates to the fact that Seth pinned Eric Rowan with a forklift on Raw this week, which was bollocks!
Yeah, that was not good. That wasn't good, was it?
I hate him so much. I hate him so much. And by the way, I'm not going to really rant. I'm going to try and keep myself calm. I've got a long week. We're going to pace myself here. By the way, Seth, when you said on Raw, the only way to stop The Fiend is to beat The Fiend, or the only way to end The Fiend is to beat The Fiend, don't you dare. Don't you dare on Thursday. Me and Phil are doing the live stream and I worry for his personal safety if he burned it down. I knew that burning it down was going to make it come back. No, you didn't. You thought that was it, you idiot.
He's a twat, isn't he? Like,
He's a real bellend.
His wrestling
But anyway,
character is a twat.
to the question, is
Yeah.
a forklift going to be champion on Thursday?
Is it the same? My question is, that, not to answer a question with a question, but is this the same forklift that almost killed Roman Reigns? And if that's the case, there's some real Inception stuff going on here with Eric Rowan now being squashed by the forklift. I mean, for me, the wooden pallet should be the champion. The wooden pallet that was slotted onto the thing to prevent Rowan from getting crushed. That is your champion. It will be defending the belt in an Iron Man Heavy Metalweight Styley against Adam Wilborn in Southampton in a month.
I would like the 24/7 Championship to become a bit more DDT Iron Man Heavy Metalweight Championship.
I like an
a ladder
object.
win it and a bin win it and stuff.
Yeah, like, I think the blow-up doll won it, like a chair maybe. It's insanity. Yeah,
Great.
I'm all over that.
More of that sort of thing.
What inanimate object will you have win it from, is the thing?
The screen that people look at, when they look at it sideways, just falls on them.
The sideways TV screen.
Right, let's move on to today's ad finally. From someone I'd give a shout out on Twitter to, I only just saw their name on Twitter right now. Sex on Rusev Day. Thank you for sending us this. Some great news. Unfortunately, they lost a match this week on Monday Night Raw, but the Iconics have finally got their own models. Someone sent me this photo from their local shop. It says, first time in the line, although I know they like to wear matching outfits, but I've never seen them wear an outfit like that, to be perfectly honest.
Why do Usos look like Matt Hardy there as well?
Yeah.
Wow.
More of that sort of thing, please.
Why are they not wearing a top?
How do you get the Usos and the Iconics mixed up? And why do they make this mistake so much?
In fairness, I have to point out, and here's me going, well, actually, but a few people actually slid into mentions yesterday, pointing out that, you know, when these figures get mixed up, it's often like little scallywags buying the thing, right? Replacing it with a different model of a different wrestler inside that they don't want, and then taking it back to the shop and getting the money back, and then the shop just not checking it. Apparently this happens quite a lot. Collectors, this is an infamous problem, apparently. If anyone can expand on that, I'd love to know more, because it's such a weird little practice. If that's the case, who the hell is training these shopkeepers? Like, what's going on? What are we doing here?
That looks like the two women on the box. Thanks very much.
What is this world?
I'll tell you what we need.
What's love?
We need a special report on this scandal.
Wow,
this scandal with
shocking,
WWE merch.
The disturbing truth behind WWE action figures.
Yes, exactly.
Coming soon.
Let us know your thoughts on that and all of today's news stories in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts. Myself, Andy Murray, and Michael Hamlet are going to be sitting down to review Monday Night Raw a little bit later on today. Plus, you can send us Twitter questions at WhatCultureWWE, and whilst you're there, follow both of us. You can follow him at
Andy H. Murray. The H stands for Heinz. It's what beans means.
You can follow me at Adam Wilborn. You can follow us all at WhatCultureWWE. My thanks to Andy Murray. Thank you for watching. We will see you soon.